Picture this. You're just your average bod living in late Tudor England. Ah, yes, sorry, that makes you one of the downtrodden peasant majority. Let's say it's the end of a wet summer in 1597, and the country's been suffering famine for 3 years now. Even in better times, it was pretty tough going to scrape a meagre living, enough to keep you and yours in a modicum of health. After all, life has always been a precarious affair for the likes of you poor wretched rustic, subsisting below the poverty line, paying crippling rents, taxes and church tithes, losing grazing rights due to ongoing enclosure, bedbugs, unsanitary conditions, every day awaiting accident, bubonic plague, the pox or syphilis to strike you down before the sun sets. But now, what with yet another crap harvest and this infernal, never-ending rain, starvation is hammering on the door of your wattle and daub hovel. Some of you, desperate to ease the gnawing hunger pains, even resort to eating acorns off the forest floor. Subsequent bowel eruptions are going to make you regret that later. Predictably, as ill done by as ever, malnourished and worrying your breeches off about the coming winter scarcity, you get sick. What can you do about it? Professional physicians are way too costly for your paltry purse. Just buying a loaf of bread at the current extortionate food prices is outstripping the pathetic wage they pay you, kept pathetic by state legislation enforcing a low maximum wage for your sweat and tears physical labour. At this tyrannical time in history, the mere mention of a minimum wage will get you laughed out of the tavern. So where does this leave you in your current present extremis? Thankfully, not without a cunning plan up your sleeve. For hanging out almost on the doorstep, there are, and for time immemorial has been, the cunning folk, offering an impressive range of services, inclusive of herbal remedies, protective and curative spells, divination, midwifery, expelling witches' curses, finding mislaid items and so forth, plus a bonus giveaway of some sage advice thrown in for good measure, all available at a bargain price, or even just a bit of a barter. Admittedly, although they dutifully adhere to the prescribed Christian worship, these practitioners in handy magic are frowned upon by a disapproving church. But the general peasant population simply adore them. They are the 16th century caring profession catering for the impoverished common masses. No self-respecting parish would be without its very own wise woman or cunning man. True, some of their more peculiar ideas might seem a bit cranky, and as always, you'll spot the odd charlatan making a fast buck. But there may be something to these old country remedies, and this tried and tested knowledge passed down the generations, whereas natural magic has long been esteemed and preserved in grimoires. The odd folk medicine recipe will even make it into pharmaceutical medication in time, e.g. digitalis or foxglove for treating heart conditions is attributed to one such traditional healer, and compared to the torturous primitive practices of the Elizabethan medical men, with their over-fondness for leeches and single-minded diagnosing according to the four humours. Considering your present bleak prospects, you fall under the melancholic category for sure. Well, quite frankly, you're better off with the old wise women down the lane. Moving on a few hundred years, here we are with all the marvels of modern medicine. Not a leech in sight, and medical treatment available for all and sundry, albeit with long NHS waiting lists. But something at the grassroots level has been chipping away at the long-standing, centralised and homogeneous healthcare monopoly. For quite a few decades now, astrologers like to harp on about the comet Cryon discovered in 1977 as the harbinger. We've seen the rise of complementary alternative therapies, largely provided by small-scale independent workers advertising their reflexology, homeopathy, aromatherapy, herbalism, hot rocks, you name it, skills on a card in the window of the local health food shop. And simultaneously, there's been another change creeping in, quietly infiltrating the standard paradigm, which has held such a stranglehold on our view of reality. For truth be told, a lot of us have become a smidge disillusioned with all this all wrapped up, no enchantment allowed, transparent cling film era of consumables and top-down information drip. And even the denizen of science has turned traitor on its respectable age of reason forebearers. The classical "you know where you are with Newton" has been usurped by the raving mystics of quantum physics. Oh woe for the rational man. The universe is not what he thought. At its most fundamental, spooky level, it's neither predictable nor ordered. The observer affects the observed, and some of the quaint convictions of the cunning folk don't seem so far off the mark after all. Reality just isn't what it was. We've been plonked back into a wonderland of mind stuff. The physical 3D realism of the Enlightenment was just a big sorcerer's trick played on us. We've looped another full circle of the spiral, and we're entering a renaissance of the magical, especially on Netflix, revisiting our ancestors' supernatural mindset in an age of unrestricted subatomic particles in all their wacky, chaotic kookiness. And as ageless mystical practices such as divination, whether tarot or scrying, become more and more a part of popular culture, and as increasing numbers take to such modern trends as mindful manifesting, whether by neuro-linguistic programming or an employment of spells, it's pretty clear by now that the socio-cultural wind has changed direction, because it's no longer just we pagans who welcome a return to magical thinking, slowly but surely blowing back to us on an old Tudor breeze. Wild winds whipping up long gone feet dancing still amongst the last stone standing. A May breeze tangling ribbons of missing memories, tempting wives to whisper old tales, peeping into a forgotten forego where a lost lore waits to be reborn. If you've enjoyed this piece, then please take a look at A Westerly Wind Brings Witches, a novel by Sally Walker. This article first appeared in MoonScape Volume 3, which you can read over on issue. Thank you so much for watching. A special thanks to our members. You too can become a member by clicking the join button. Subscribe for weekly content, ring the bell, and we'll see you next time.